I don't think anyone's gotten the true purpose of the AEMS Max right. The AEMS Max is a recent release from Holosun, and it is a comically large red dot. It is a way sized up version of the AEMS, and we recently started carrying them on defensedistributors.com. In prep for that, I've been doing a lot of different setups with them, thinking about its application, running it through different setups, and this red dot specifically ticks some boxes that other red dots won't. So what actually is the purpose behind the AEMS Max? Why would you buy a red dot this big? Is there a reason for it? And I think absolutely. And I don't think any other people are really talking about the main use case. I see these being thrown on rifles here and there as just, oh, it's just a bigger window size now. And they don't really talk about the application at all of that. I have seen a couple people put these on shotguns, which they're starting to really hit the nail on the head, but nobody really talks about the theory behind that. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to talk about the theory of why specifically a red dot this big actually fits some setups really, really well. I've already done some comparisons of the red dot and some stats, so we're not going to go into that. If you do want those videos, those are on the Defense Distributors YouTube channel specifically. But essentially, the too long didn't read version of that is this is a very, very large version of the AEMS red dot. The surface area of the window is 2 times the size of the AEMS, and it's 2 times the surface size of the EOTech. For a long time, EOTechs have just been the recommendation for, oh, you want large window size and a closed emitter. Go with the EOTech, which is great. EOTechs are phenomenal optics. I'm not necessarily saying this replaces the EOTech, but the EOTech window, while it's large, I always thought could be even bigger. And that's exactly what the AEMS Max does. This window size is huge. And for most of your standard daily use rifles, you probably don't need a window size this big. Is it nice? Sure, but this does add on extra weight, extra bulk, and you can probably get by just fine enough with the standard window size. But there are some specific setups where you do want a window size this massive, and I'm going to talk about a couple of those. The first one that really intrigued me with this was the auto rifle concept. I'd always been intrigued of the idea of a larger red dot on an auto rifle. Specifically, what caught my eye is Trijicon's massive machine gun red dot, which is a very cool red dot, but it's way too large for any sort of a weapon you would carry around with you. And when the AEMS Max came out, my original thought was immediately, oh, this is the solution to that problem. It could still be paired with a magnifier, so if you do want magnified shots, you can have that. But the AEMS Max just increases that window size so much that I'm going to get a lot more field of view and situational awareness of what's going on at my target, which is very important for an auto rifle. When you're sustaining those high rates of fire, you do want to be putting shots on target, and because of that, you do want field of view. So I thought that this worked really well in that concept. I did some testing specifically with a setup like that, and I found that it was highly successful at filling that role. Next, I started seeing these get put on shotguns in a couple different places, specifically for marketing of this red dot, and I thought that fit the application really, really well as well. Shotguns as a defensive weapon are pretty simple. Close-range shots, lots of scatter. You don't really need to be as precise. You kind of just point and aim, and for that, I don't necessarily need a dot target. A ring reticle works very well, and I'm okay with having a lot more window size because it gives me more downrange field of view. The AEMS Max features multi-reticles, meaning I can switch between my single dot, my circle with a dot, and I think specifically the circle works really, really well with this. It fits that scatter pattern, and it's just a great pairing with a shotgun in general if you're looking for a high field of view and a reticle that actually fits what you're doing, which is what you should be looking for. And when I started getting more and more deep into this, there are another 2 areas I think that the AEMS Max really, really lights up. I didn't think of this immediately, but night vision, I did some testing with it, and it is pretty good. The AEMS from Holosun is already a great option for night vision, has been displayed as being that on YouTube by a couple of different channels, great reticle selection, and differing modes under night vision. So there's 4 night vision settings on this. It's very important that you have those brightness levels depending on your condition. And so for a passive aiming solution, the AEMS is great. And the window size really, really helped. So essentially what the AEMS Max would do is take all those exact same settings and make the window size even bigger, which can't hurt with night vision, and that's exactly what happens. Bigger window makes it easier to aim with passive night vision. There's less housing to get in your field of view. So for night vision specific setups where you're intending on passive aiming, this is an incredible optic to fill that role over other traditional dots. And the last concept I played around with was shorter range CQB setups. This dot has an incredibly large window, as we've discussed, and that increases your field of view, which is something you want in CQB. You're not supposed to really get sucked into your dot. That's not a good thing, but if you do need to place precise shots on target and get longer than a second to do so, you do want to be able to accurately make those. And so EOTechs for a long time have taken the role of that because the window size is big. It's a battle-proven optic, great optic. I'm not saying this replaces the EOTech. EOTech necessarily, but you do want a lot of window size, and the AEMS Max doubles the window size of the EOTech. So this is something I'm still playing around with. The optic still has a lot of proving to do. It hasn't been out for too long. It needs to be battle tested for a lot longer. That being said, as a concept, this fits the CQB rule really, really well because it gives you a huge field of view, and you don't want to get sucked into your optics, as I was just saying. But if you do need to place precise shots, this is going to be easier to do with than other red dots because of the massive window on it. It's going to be easier to acquire your target. You're going to be able to see more downrange. In general, this is a great dot, but it doesn't replace fundamentals, so I wouldn't necessarily say it's a necessity. You can accomplish all of that with some training, with the EOTech, or with the AEMS, but this certainly helps, and if you're looking for any advantage you can get, maybe this is an option you look into for that. And those specifically are 4 of the use cases I think the AEMS Max shines. I first saw that and said, it was comically large. What could this possibly be used for other than the auto rifle concept? And the more and more I've been playing with it and talking about it, the more and more I've been like, wow, this fits some use cases that any other red dot on the market simply can't fit as well as the AEMS Max can. So if you're interested in getting this for your build, go to the link in the description, defensedistributors.com.